Right, hello everyone, welcome back to the Glassgirls Network. We're back again, the three amigos of the Glassgirls Network. We're here and we've got plenty to talk about this time. Things have definitely sped up in the motions leading up towards the season now. We've got a few signings, a few additions to the backroom staff, a few pre-season friendlies to talk about. Plenty, and we've got lots to cover. So let's get into it. But firstly, guys, how you been? How we doing? How's the summer been so far?
It's been okay, isn't it? I'm looking forward to it now. Like I say, we've got a bit of news to talk about. So a few rumours, obviously, that we've put to bed. We kind of knew who may be joining, who may not be joining, who may be leaving, who may not be leaving, all that kind of stuff. So good to get that. Also good to get a few fixtures to look forward to. Obviously, that's like way away feels because we still need, obviously, to announce a few more players before we start having games. But yeah, looking forward to that. And also looking forward to talking about Stourbridge Standard as well, DG.
Yes, definitely. It's only been over, a few weeks for the standard.
Yeah.
And I'm missing it already.
Yeah.
Well, I'm missing it already. Obviously, you mentioned about the weather there. Enjoy the weather in June. Get used to it, because when it gets to August, it's going to pee down.
Brilliant.
So make the most of the British weather. And obviously, as you just alluded to, John, there are lots of things to talk about going into the summertime with the standard girls and obviously the first team as well. So yeah,
bit of breaking news as well. Are you allowed to say?
Yeah. If you like, it's all part and parcel of it. But yeah, there is a bit of news.
Okay.
Or breaking news, as John likes to call it. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get onto that in a bit. Let's start with the first team though. First of all, the transfers coming in. There's a few to go out that I'm sure we can talk about it a little bit in a bit. But let's start with the ones coming inwards. The first one that got announced, someone that John, me and you know quite well, ellie-mae, the goalkeeper. I think one of the things that I've always noticed with Stourbridge is we've always been treated to very high quality goalkeepers, and I don't think Ellie is an exception to this rule. I've seen her quite a few times this season playing for Kiddie, and she's really been a standout. I think she was too good for Tier 5, so to come into this setup at Tier 4 I think is ideal for her.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. We're going to play a little bit of a game later at the end of this show where we start talking about some of our former players as well. And you are right, we've always been blessed with a player between the sticks. Sometimes, a couple of good goalkeepers that both deserve first team opportunities. So to get ellie-mae over the line wasn't necessarily a massive surprise, because we know that she's close to Meg. She's also one of our under 16s coaches, will be under 18s. So we know there's a bit of a link with her and Stourbridge there. But for anyone who doesn't know ellie-mae, she's a character as well. She's great around the fans. She's talkative. Polite around the stadium as well. So in regards to, she'll say hello to everyone. If you go up to her, she'll make sure that she speaks to you, all that kind of stuff. Brings in a bit of noise as well. So she'll probably bring some sort of sound system walking onto the pitch. It's just full of energy. So but as for actual ability on the pitch as well, I never actually once thought to myself that when the ball's going in the box or when someone's one-on-one with her, I never thought she was ever going to let us down.
No.
A kiddie. So I always felt that she was in control of a box, and I appreciate that was the next level down. So obviously she's against tougher players now. However, everything that I've seen of her on that pitch is comfortable. She looks a comfortable goalkeeper. So I think that's something very positive for our first signing.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it when we were watching one of the games. There's some crazy stat about the amount of goals that Kiddie conceded. I think in open play, I don't know how many it was, but it was very few, right? Most of them were penalties and free kicks.
I think at one point in the league, in the second half of the season, from the calendar year, I think something just one or two in open play. I think the rest of them were free kicks, a penalty against Lye, was it? They didn't concede many anyway, hence why they got promoted. But when you've got her, and obviously the defenders in front of her as well, she's solid. So losing Harriet is obviously a massive blow, we knew that. But to bring in a player like Ellie, who's got good experience before Kiddie as well, is for me a good solution.
Yeah, and Dave, John mentioned it there, Harriet obviously departing the club, but replacing her with Ellie. How important do you think it is that someone is a character in goal, sort of almost a leader, like Harriet was? She's vocal. We noticed that on our first game that we ever watched Harriet play for us. She's vocal, and Ellie's no different to that. Do you think that makes a big impact on the side?
Yeah, all goalies are mad, aren't they? That's the old saying. All goalkeepers are crazy, whether it be female, male, youth team kids, whatever. You've sold her really well there. Obviously, I'm just pure Stourbridge. I don't kind of look out of the box at other teams. I couldn't care less, really. I'm just for this team. But you've said some good sound bites there. You've seen her play fan friendly. That's vital. We've spoken this podcast last year, didn't we, last season, about players kind of not mingling when we kind of wanted them to, and doing their own path and going doing their different things. Maybe that's part of the management team there, looking at a different direction in Tier 3. So it's a great first signing by what you've been telling me. And obviously, if she was Kieran Minster's first team goalkeeper, it looks like a major steal. Yes, he's got the links with our manager now, under 16 coach and all that kind of thing. So, but if they're letting their number one goalkeeper go, they've got to replace her. So we've got a major steal, and that's our first summer signing. So obviously, there's going to be a few more to talk about. But again, you just mentioned about when we saw Harriet in the pre-season friendly. I like to do the optic test. So I'll have a look at her, and if she's as good as you say, I think she's going to be great for us in Tier 4 next season.
Definitely.
So only good sounds, only good vibes are coming from our new goalkeeper.
Yeah, just before we move on to another kiddie player we're going to speak about, I think that is quite an important point that you've mentioned there. We have weakened kiddie in that aspect. Obviously, kiddie have got their own pull, and I'm sure they'll be able to attract a good goalkeeper. But yeah, we've taken directly from a rival there, which I think is really important. Again, with another player we're going to mention here, we're taken directly from a rival. John, tell us a little bit about Imo, because I know you've seen her quite well, and you speak quite highly of her as well.
So also close friends with ellie-mae. So they're currently on holiday together with a few of our former players as well. So there's a group of friends there that have known each other for a while, hence why they all end up at kiddie together. A couple of them have come across now to Stourbridge, and that's women's football for you, isn't it? A lot of it's built on friendships. Imo came into kiddie in the second half of the season, played primarily as a left back. Wasn't fully fit towards the end of the season, so didn't get too much game time towards the end. But she was solid. She's also quite low, not as much as ellie-mae, but who is really. But yeah, she's just a solid left back. And if you have a look at that defensive line now, because we'll talk about some more signings coming in as well, it's a great start to the transfer window, the signing window, I guess. For Stourbridge and what Meg's done there. But yeah, it's a good friendship group, and I think they'll be very loyal to Meg, which is important. We've said it last year with Aid. Aid bringing in players that are loyal to Aid, and it's what managers do, isn't it? And I'm pretty sure that Ellie and Imo will be the same to Meg.
Yeah, I think what's important to notice as well is that with these players that we're signing, they've got a bit of experience about them already at such a young age. Last season there were a couple of signings where they hadn't really got much experience as of right now, and potentially that showed on the pitch. But with these players, they've won a title already. Some of the players we're going to speak about in a bit have been around a few different clubs, a few big clubs as well. I think it makes a bit of a difference, doesn't it?
Winning mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
They jump ship. They're coming to this club with a winning mentality.
Exactly. Yeah, they want to continue the trend, don't they? Obviously.
I think the big thing for me as well, for all the signings that we've seen so far, is that they're signings that actually should be in this league. I think we've seen previously where we was in Tier 3, but we wasn't really signing Tier 3 quality players, or if we did, then we might have not stumbled on them, but we didn't know that, we took a gamble on them. I don't think any of these players that we've signed so far, there's any gamble whatsoever if they're Tier 4 quality or not.
You know what you're getting.
You know what you're getting. You are getting some Tier 4 players, and I think that's a big, massive positive so far. There's a lot more to come, but obviously, it's great.
Definitely on our third signing here, Abby Bevan. Not a player that I'm hugely familiar with. John, I don't know if you know a bit more yourself. If you can let the people know what they can expect from Abby this season.
She's a good player, formerly of Sutton, so that's obviously that's been a recent club. But yeah, quality signing. I've spoke to other people around the place. I've got some stats behind the camera as well. About she managed to get on the score sheet, I think, like 4 times, even though as a midfielder, that's not so bad. And Sutton don't score many goals last year. So Sutton finished 8th in the league last year. She was there, and she managed to do well and obviously take the eye. It's good that we can actually recruit someone from that league. There's a lot that's gone on with Stourbridge in the last 12 months, but I think a lot of people are getting their trust now. I think Stourbridge is getting a bit of trust back now that there's been a bit of a shift in leadership there. Formerly of Balmy as well, I believe. So I can't remember playing at Balmy, but I think it was at Balmy the year before that. So 2 good teams. Balmy the year before that, I think, finished in the top half of Tier 4. she finished 8th with Sutton last year. It's not mind blowing like in regards to they're going to win the league. They're not league winners as such. Although the next signing was a league winner with Kelsa. They are just strong, steady players to build a foundation, because this is Meg's first season. We wanted to stay for a lot longer than one season. We can't be one of these teams that keep on changing managers every year. So if this is your foundation here, that good goalkeeper, a steady left back, good centre back, centre midfielder, you're decent there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think
He's selling them well, mate.
yeah.
He's selling them well.
I
to
am.
the masses.
I think we've got reason to. I think we've got reason to at the moment. Obviously, we'll have to wait until we start playing some games, of course.
Yeah.
And it also depends on who they're playing with. It's no good having just 4 quality players. If the other 7 players on the pitch, tier 5, tier 6 quality, then it's not really going to work, is it? But we can enjoy the first 4 on the first 4.
She's got a balance, doesn't she, Meg?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think, again, like we've spoken about with the other 2, it's important that we've taken a clearly good player off Sutton Coldfield, because they're having a little transitional summer at the moment, and it's been a bit of a clear out, and it's not looking wholly positive for them at the moment. Obviously, I'd imagine they've still got quite a bit of business to do, but at this moment in time, they're going to be one of our rivals that we can look at and go, okay, we can steer clear of the drop from them, and cement ourselves where we find ourselves in the table. So I feel like I'm talking when we're back in tier 3. As long as there's 2 teams worse than us, then we'll be okay. I don't think that'll be the case this season. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be further up the table than having to worry about relegation.
I'm a lot more positive in the last 3 weeks with who I've seen, who's looking at coming in, or who has come in. And like I say, it is only 4 at the moment. But it's the first 4.
Definitely.
So if they're all at this level, mate, it should be fun games.
100%. Yeah, but we know how football works. Just because you have these quality players doesn't mean it always works out. But who's this signing? I don't recognise her at all. I don't.
Something up like
Here she is. So
that's how she was advertised on Twitter, wasn't it?
Yeah, true. Yeah, that was a little teaser there. Liv Owen is our final. At the moment, our final one that we've had through the door. A centre back, someone to slot into defence alongside Imogen at the back. Again, a player I don't know massive amounts about at all. I think she's been at West Brom and a few other clubs around the Midlands. John, do you know?
Do your salesman pitch now.
Yes,
no, I will. She won this league 2 years ago with Kelsa. So she knows what it's like. You're on about bringing in winners.
Yeah.
She's a winner. She didn't play for Kelsa last season in tier 3. I think she played about 14 games 2 years ago that helped get them promoted, and then she went to Sutton, hence why she probably knows, well, she will know Abby Bevan. So those 2 have come across. Again, solid players. People in the area saying they're good signings. So when your rivals are saying it, fair play to them for saying it. So again, another positive move. Me and our friend behind the camera there saw this signing the day before it was released, and we kept quiet. We showed our respect, but we knew what was going on. We knew who it was, etc. And it was nice to see, and it is good to see. So I think Meg's created a little family here, like I say, based on loyalty, but also based on, that's a good point what you just said there, Dave. Winners, they know how to win games and win leagues as well.
Experience as well.
I don't know if these signings came to any of the trial dates. I don't even know if the trial dates have happened. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think what they'll do is they'll make, well, I don't know from Meg's point of view, but I know other teams, they will make contact with players and say, look, we're interested. We already know how you play, so there's no necessarily need to have a trial. Or maybe these have approached, and maybe they did sign up to the trial, and because they are so good, why wait for the trial? I don't know. I don't know, but
I think the important thing about signings like this, they've been around a few clubs. They're going to have friends that think, oh, she's gone there. What's going on there? Let's have a word with Meg and see what the plan is. And we know that works. We know that there's little cliques in women's football that follow each other around everywhere. Hopefully if there's a core group of solid players, they could be on their way to Stourbridge and they could be doing wonderful things in a year's time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's all our signings so far. Hopefully a few more to come in the coming days. Just before we go on to fixtures, talk about our two new staff that have come in. Lucas Bard, the goalkeeper coach, and Amy Cleland, I want to say, is the physio. So again, brilliant to welcome new faces through the door. Lucas was at Walsall last season, so I recognise the name, recognise the face.
Of course he does.
And I think he's been at West Brom before that as well. So clearly, knows his stuff about goalkeeping. I think they've had a slight manager turnover at Walsall this season. So I think he's just looked for a step up, and Stourbridge is that for him.
It's good that they've actually got a proper dedicated goalkeeper coach as well.
Yeah.
We know how much goalkeepers play for that, and I think a few teams getting these. I think I'll cast my mind back to 2 or 3 years ago. The one of the popular things, popular staffing people to get in was to do with like player well-being, that kind of that kind of thing. Whereas now, teams have got that, and now it's like goalkeeper coaches is the next big thing at this level. Goalkeepers want to be trained by proper goalkeeper coaches. And this is obviously a big thing.
I think Harriet has said that herself. It was almost a bit of a struggle sometimes not having a personal goalkeeper coach that knows the absolute ins and outs of being a goalkeeper. Obviously we had a few coaches interchanging between that role throughout the season. Even the season before that, when we had Jamie, Aaron Collins was in, but he wasn't there all the time. I think he had some other commitments that took a bit of his time. So it's a struggle. The last real full time, I guess, goalkeeper coach that we had was probably Tim Beach back in the Tier 5 days. But it shows, doesn't it, that we haven't had someone to come in and take that role fully since that time. So hopefully he comes in, hopefully he does well. Someone else that is good to have, as someone that's going to hopefully stick around the entire season and be a constant throughout, is your physiotherapist. So Amy, I think there's been a bit of chopping and changing, not even just with the women's side, with the Stourbridge men's side as well. Obviously there was Jack, Rich Druitt, who everyone knows, and there was the couple of girls as well, and it didn't really ever seem to find a bit of stability. So hopefully, bringing someone in from the start of the season and saying this is your physio, hopefully that's it for the season now.
The travel as well, because like all the teams, not all the teams, sorry, but a large majority of the teams now West Midland based, or at least Midland based. Some of these staff who may do work for free, they might not want to give up the whole day travelling all the way up there and all the way down south or whatever. Whereas now, because half the matches are quite local, that might have a factor in keeping people for the whole season as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is Amy's first proper role since graduating university as well. So what a way to get your experience in a Tier 4 club.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's talk about these pre-season games where we're going to hopefully see some of these staff, some of these players in action.
There's two there that jump out at me.
Yeah, which ones are they, John?
Former managers. So we've got A. Clements, who's now the manager of Stour. So I'm really looking forward to that one. And then we've got the new Saints TNS, our former manager Mike Harris. So it's going to be fantastic. So Mike coming back to Stourbridge for the first time since he left. But some good teams here. We've got some strong. We know the northern teams are strong. We know that Stoke reserves. But Hensford Town, they're new to Tier 5, but they're on back-to-back promotions. If they're in the league this year, they equal us getting 3 consecutive promotions, and they're not short of good leadership there. So 5 good challenges, all different in regards to what the challenges that the world bring. But obviously I've got to think of the first and the last, because it's our managers, and we'll also see some probably old faces, old players there as well. We know Daisy has gone to Redditchborough. We know Catherine Pagan's still there, Grace Murphy. There's more. Katie Box, I believe, has left because she's going to the States. And who's TNS going to bring in under Mike Harris now? So lots to look forward to with those 5 fixtures, but especially those 2.
Definitely, yeah. Dave, any specific fixtures jumping out at you?
So, the Redditchborough one, obviously, Aid. It just looks like it's going to be his first, or definitely our first, friendly against our old manager. But what I do like about this, boys, is not so much the nostalgic thing. I like the way Meg's got 5 friendlies. I'm hoping by the 17th of July, she's got a good percentage of her squad in place. So all these 5 games, they can work together, work out who's playing where, get a bond going, get a system going, get a way of playing going. Do you know what I mean? More friendlies the better. Because let's be honest, boys, these are all exciting. They're good for us to go and watch. You know, get excited for the season. But once these are over, we don't really care. It's the first game of the season. That's when it matters. Yeah. This is when the homework's done. This is when the prep's done, and all these kind of games. So yeah.
And some of us, on that, some of us got a bit excited last year because of the pre-season friendlies. We was doing well. A lot of people who was new to Stourbridge at the time, because obviously there was a new era with Aid and his following come over, and all the new player parents. Some of them was getting excited because he was playing and winning and doing well in pre-season. But obviously, when the season starts, it is all different, isn't it? Yeah. So no matter what we see here, we've just got to kind of take it almost with a pinch of salt. We can get excited, of course, and we will. You know, if we win Reddish Borough 4-0, sorry, Aid, but if we win Reddish Borough 4-0, then obviously we'll get excited, won't we? And that's normal.
But the point I was trying to make, you are right. The point I'm trying to make, at the end of the friendlies last season, Aid really hadn't got his full squad. Do you remember we were getting late signings? Yeah. I'm hoping Meg's got the majority of her squad ready going into this Redditch game, going into the Cheadle game. Do you know what I'm saying?
On that, we don't know who's been retained, but we know that 19 players left last summer. Yeah. There could be even more this summer. Yeah. You know, we don't know. So Meg's got even a tougher job, in my opinion. I say not a tougher job, but a lot of work to do in a very short time, to get as many players in as possible. But like I say, we've seen what she can do already with the 4 that we just put on screen.
Yeah, so she started off really well, didn't she? In those terms.
I mean, what I like about these fixtures as well is they all seem to be tests. You know, there's no games there that you think, oh yeah, we're easily going to beat them, or oh yeah, we're probably going to lose quite heavily to them. Mm-hmm. They're all winnable, but they're all going to be games that are interesting and games that offer different things. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to pre-season. Definitely.
Just on that, you're saying that, you know, as a friendly. So what if we do? So what if we do get beat? Meg and the team go away. They watch the footage. They analyse what went wrong, so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
This is my point on it. So
yeah, 100%. Just slightly before we move on to Stourbridge Standard, let's finish off with the first team with a couple of departing players who have been officially announced. Obviously, you mentioned it there. Daisy has been officially announced. This doesn't fancy working today, I don't think.
No, I've played up today, never mind.
But Daisy has been officially confirmed for Redditch Borough, alongside Rosie Embley and Lizzie Bennett-Steele for Leafield as well. Those pair have gone to Leafield. Obviously, they're quite pally as they are. So it's quite nice, and they've
good signings by the way for Leafield.
Definitely for this level, I think they are leading players. So for Tash to bring them in, obviously there's a few Stourbridge players, ex-Stourbridge players there already who they'll know. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's a really good pair of signings for Leafield, and it makes Leafield even stronger. You know, we know how well they did last year. It's a good signing, isn't it? It's a good pair of signings.
Yeah, I think it's a great shout, and it's really worth us as a fan channel just shouting out our captain there. So Rose was our captain last year. She was our longest serving player in the end. Regarding current players who were still with us. And yeah, they are going to be. We knew it was very likely that they was going to leave, but it's a massive loss to lose tier 3 quality players. In my opinion, you know, there were tier 3 quality players. So all 3 of them knew each other at West Brom. They all knew each other at Stourbridge, and obviously they all chose to go to Leafield. And then if you have a look at that Leafield squad now, the amount of former Stourbridge players that are there as well. With
we're coming to feeder club, haven't we? With Leafield as well now. Leafield.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to take my place?
But I think those are the only 2 that have been officially confirmed by anyone. Unless
Daisy to Redditch, we might talk about that one.
Unless there's any others that are escaping me right now. I think those are the only ones that have been confirmed as of right now. I'm sure we'll speak about the rest of them when they find out what they're doing in the summer. But yeah, here we go. Have we got a name for it yet? The standard segment, whatever you want to call it.
Right. So we said last week, didn't we? Well, the last time we done this podcast, put your answers in the comment box below. What do you want to call this? Now, standard section sounds a bit boring, as in there's no thought gone into it.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of ideas, right? So what? Play these names by you. So I've done my notes for the podcast today.
Gosh, this could be anything.
It could be anything, but you'll see where I'm going with it. So this section could be, should be, or would be champions elect, champions in waiting, or pending champions. So I'm going down the champions.
You reckon they're champions? Is that what you're thinking?
Of course.
I quite like champions in waiting because that also almost implies that they're then on their way to the first team. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
Where they're waiting for that opportunity to go and be a champion for the first team as well.
As well, yes.
Yeah.
As
So
well.
yeah, I quite like that. That's my vote personally.
Let's go for it. It's solid to me. Yeah, I'm off for that. Let's go
So
for
welcome to
that
the champions in waiting section, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
yeah,
Right,
brilliant.
lovely. In all honesty, the last time we spoke, the girls had 2 or 3 games left off the top of my head. I went to see the last 3 games. Coventry at home, I'm going to be brutally honest here, Coventry were rubbish, so it was an easy game for the Standard girls. They played Gornal in the week, completely different team, solid, very physically strong. It took an Ellie Williams brilliant goal right at the death to get the 3 points, and then they played against Sutton on the last game of the season. Attacking team, more football generated, but again, the girls that we've got there that were causing problems, the way Magson and April Maguire have gotten playing football, they won. So you couldn't ask any more of the girls. It took Leamington won the league by default because Rubery Ravens, who they were supposed to play in the last game, I think it was a double header, they pulled out. So they were more or less awarded the points. So the girls finished on 49 points, Leamington finished on 50 points, so they go up by a point. But the good thing about it is, though, and obviously when I said they're champions in waiting, because they were so close, around about Christmas time, they were in 6th place. They lost 3 games, they were 12 points off the distance. This is their first season at open age football. Their first season. Majority of those girls at age 16. So they've come from the under 16 straight into open age. There was a stat on one of the Instagram pages of the Stourbridge Standard that they were the youngest squad in Tier 7. So after Christmas, whatever happened between April and Ryan and the team, they kind of got together, got the football flowing, and they've gone all the way to the top. Yes, you had Covetarians dropped out as well. That affects every other team, and obviously what happened with Ruby Ravens. But they pulled those points back, got to a cup final, got the disappointment, cracked on, and it's such a shame to lose the league by 1 point.
Yeah.
Real shame for them to lose it by 1 point, you know.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
As I went to the last couple of games, a couple of the parents came up to me and spoke to me. So they've watched the podcast through obviously social media, what we do.
Hello,
so
if you watch it.
Yeah, they watched it, so I got good vibes from them. They like everything that we're going to do going forward, the Standard. Nice parents, good team. Been in touch with Magson as well, so I've got a couple of things to say going forward with the girls. But yeah, I just had to throw it in because we didn't speak about it hadn't happened at the time.
Yeah.
You know, so what's your thoughts on that? How close they've got for girls that are normally age 16 to pull those points back and just to be kind of denied by default?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Really. Yeah, it's a shame because like you say, it feels like they should be getting something out of a terrific season for them. But you know, it's the way football is. It's the rules of the game, I suppose. And yeah, that's just like the cup final. You know, the heartbreak defeat that they suffered. This is only going to make them stronger. I think. You know, they've got a solid group of players here. I know a lot of them have already been retained already for next season. If they can add, you know, a few bits of quality here and there and build a proper side that is going to show that back end of the season form the whole way through, there's no reason why next season, you know, they can't be up there again and being champions confirmed.
Yeah, like it.
Next season's title.
Yeah.
Just on the back of that, I think in the first two we very have to talk about who we're looking at bringing in and who we want to bring in. I think it's important for this side to stick together, and that's not much bring players in, but just to keep hold of as many as you can, because as you rightly said, the quality is already there. They missed out by 1 point, and that's because of the poor start of the season. I think they only dropped points in 1 game.
They lost 3 and drew 1.
In regards to the second half of the season.
Yeah, they drew 1 game. So they won
so
every
they
other
just
game.
dropped, exactly. Yeah. So that's absolutely amazing, and that's what you have to base it on. Don't base it on the first half because that's further back. Base it on like the most recent games. So when you look at that now, it's fantastic, and I'm sure Meg Bailey will be following these closely, and well, she has already been following them closely, to maybe steal a couple for the first team every now and again. So really important that these guys stay together.
Definitely. And by the way, they scored over 100 goals in all competitions last season.
Madness.
Over 100 goals, most of them 16.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they need applaud and they need kudos and they need waxing lyrical about it because this is a great group.
Yeah.
Great group of girls, and I love the way they play. But I can keep going on about it all the time. They had the presentation, right? Girls, I don't know if you know, one player scooped a lot.
Yeah.
I think they all got individual medals, I think, from what I heard and what I saw. But Demi Phillips obviously hasn't been retained as of yet, going by Twitter and Instagram. She got players player, parents player, and coaches player.
Right.
So yeah, expected, lads?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And
But
as I said, there, she hasn't been retained yet. So are we thinking?
first team
Demi-
call up. Yeah, hopefully that's what we can hope
gotta
for.
be,
You know?
Yeah, I've been a massive fan of Demi for ages, ever since she first started getting included in the first team all them years ago, and then obviously the transition to the Devs, Resis, and then now to Stourbridge Standard. Yeah, she's a proper nice girl first and foremost. Got a lot of time for her, but also a fantastic player. You know, I think she provided the assist to the goal of the season this year. In my opinion, the goal of the season, Shauna McCann Lloyd's volley against Halifax. I think Demi actually won that header.
Yeah.
So in the very limited minutes that she was offered this season, she definitely took it and performed well in it. And yeah, you know, but then we were so used to seeing her on the wing or up front, and then all of a sudden I watch her in the cup final and she's transitioned into this Rolls Royce of a centre back. Yeah, I don't know where that's behind all these years, but she definitely has seemed to almost come into her own in that position, hasn't she?
Yeah, massively. And I think just on that, I think she is obviously deserves more than tier 7. And it's a shame, because I'm sure a lot of these players might deserve more than tier 7, but because she's been around longer and she's had a bit of a taste of the first team, and she's not the only one. If she doesn't get that first team, what happens if a tier 5 team comes in for her, or even another tier 4 team? You know, so we've got to look after Debbie, and if that means put her into the first team to make sure that we keep hold of her, then from a selfish point of view, that might be the best thing to do.
She's a veteran of the squad at 19.
She is, yeah, it really is, isn't she?
Right,
But
yeah.
you are right what you're saying. You
Someone not coming for her,
Yeah.
and it's whether that's your goal. I mean, if she's surrounded by good coaches in tier 7, then to develop a game, she might be happy with that. But what happens if the good coaches at a different club who's also got a good pathway? You don't want to lose that talent from the club, do you? So it also depends on who Meg can sign. You know, if Meg signs 22 fantastic players, then all of a sudden Demi might not have that role. But I think she should, 100%.
You're right. It's not just players from the standard going up to the first team. It's other clubs sniffing around. Now you think it'd be easy for Ryan just to say, right, we've done so well last year, girls. Stay along with me. We'll go and win the league. You know, as we've been talking about.
I think most of them would anyway.
Yeah, but there's a lot of. Let's have a look at the ones that have been retained. I did write them in my notes. Mia Hillier, Tilly Ford, and we've got Erin Fox as well. But Isla McNally and Lily Portman, he mentioned because they've both had long layoffs of injuries.
Yeah.
Lily Portman had an ACL. Not ACL, sorry. She had a 16-month injury layoff. Was that Isla McNally? It's one of them. They've both been off. They've both been off. I haven't seen them play yet, so it'd be nice to see them come back fully fit and get a nosy at them. And two really, really key signings. Chelsea Hassel, she's retained. She's a great player. I think she's about 22. She's
got to be the oldest one in the squad at 22. I would have thought.
I don't know the leading
She
scorers.
was Scarlet maybe as well. Maybe that age.
Yeah, I think so,
maybe
yeah.
she's younger. No, I don't know. No, she's younger.
Yeah.
We remember about his birthday.
Well, yeah, I
Let's not talk
don't
about
know
that
if she remembers it, but we definitely do.
Goal scoring wise, I know she's up there in the goal scoring charts with Katie Rogers, but Alice Eva as well. One that took my eye, and I think she's going to be a key player this year. That's a great retainee. And number 10, she's a bit like a Matt Lettice back in our day.
Yeah.
She's set up so many goals. I've only watched them 3 times. So imagine going when we're in like December time, when I've seen a dozen games, Cup and League. So I'll be good. Alice Eva does this, Alice Eva does that.
Yeah.
But hopefully they can retain the rest of the players, the majority of the players, and nobody else comes sniffing. And they don't want to go to. I wouldn't blame them if they went to tier 5, tier 6. They've got an opportunity, but hopefully Ryan can keep the players he's got here.
Yeah.
Build on it, add a few because there's trials coming up as well in the advertisements on Twitter and on Instagram, and go forward. So yeah, that's on them. A couple of departures, boys. Lena Holmes and EJ Lee. I've never seen Lena play. Apparently, she won the League Cup. She was part of the under-16 squad.
Yeah.
And EJ Lee was
EJ,
very young. Yeah, she joined in November. Was a bit of an understudy to Chloe Turner, a full-time goalkeeper. So wish them good luck in their journeys going forward. If they've left. What else have I got, ladies and gentlemen? Oh yes, Insta and Twitter pages, social media. So there's a few advertisements on there. You said about sports therapists. They're looking for a sports therapist, a coach, fitness coach, and football analysis.
Yeah.
Analyst.
Okay.
So all us lot can do that.
Yeah.
But it depends what kind of analysing you want to do.
Yeah, I'm sure it goes a bit deeper than what we're.
Yeah, exactly. So I would put my hand up, but just hoofing it forward and hope for the best. They ain't gonna work. They don't play like that anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's all sorts of things to contact Ryan, contact April, and they're going down the sponsorship route as well.
Good.
So which is a bonus for me because as I said, I sponsored Daisy last year. I know you guys have sponsored players in the past, but to sponsor players as well, they want money for the VO, so they can keep up with the VO sponsorship. Training kits and all things like that. So obviously, if you're watching this, contact Ryan, contact April, or whoever via the club, via Twitter, via Instagram, and put some money into the standard team going forward.
Definitely, yeah, it's a very promising place to be.
Exciting times.
Yeah, so I'm talking fast because I've written so much down, ladies and gentlemen. I have to get it out because this is the champions in waiting section.
Yeah.
But just lastly, boys, they have got some pre-season friendlies coming up. We just spoke about the first team. So they're in July, 13th, the 20th, and 28th. So they're free going forward. They've got Kiddie Athletic. Never heard of them, so I don't know.
Athletic. No, I've heard of Kiddie United. I think.
Kiddie Athletic away.
Okay.
They've got Lichfield City away, and they've got Knoll at home.
Ah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
This brings me on to the breaking news.
Yeah.
Look into the camera when you say it.
Yeah. Drum roll, please.
Ooh.
How long have the Stourbridge club, girls, boys, been playing at Castle View?
For as long as we've been there.
Yeah. Ages. Couldn't even tell you. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about the other age groups. I don't know about the other sections. But going forward, what I do know is there won't be any more. Worsley School.
Okay.
Girls, the standard we're playing at Worsley School from next season. I don't know why. I haven't gone into details, but they'll be playing there. And it kind of makes sense because we're a Stourbridge-based club.
Yeah.
Worsley School is about a 5-minute car drive.
Yeah.
25-minute walk. And it still comes under Stourbridge.
Right.
So it's nice and local. The pitch is well looked after. My daughter's played there in her team, which is under back school, so it's well looked after. Obviously in December you're going to get, in January you're going to get fixtures that are called off anyway.
Yeah,
You're doing
of course.
men's professional football, so you'll definitely get it here. But yeah, just that going forward, they won't be playing at Castle View next season. They'll be playing at the Worsley School.
Cool.
So yeah, if anyone will drive, walk, I'll use my e-scooter because I was getting Ubers last season.
Yeah.
That's commitment. I was getting Ubers to Dudley
You are.
just to watch the
Wow,
girls. But
fair
yeah,
play.
I think that's about it really in pre-season. So
Got lots of information there.
Yeah,
so
plenty to
yeah.
sink your thoughts into there.
Yeah, so anything in the comment box as well that I forgot you want me to mention going forward,
Please do.
yeah, please do.
Yeah,
So yeah,
100%.
yeah, up the champions in waiting.
There we go. Yeah, and that brings us nicely,
Thanks,
John,
mate.
onto your little game, your little exercise that we're doing here.
So I'm gonna get my book because
Go on.
I need to.
There's plenty going on in this book.
Oh my God.
How many hours do you reckon this took you to create this encyclopedia?
Well, I was inspired by Dave. So basically, DJ here tried to throw me under the bus. He wanted me to annoy as many Stourbridge and former Stourbridge players as possible.
Yes.
By narrowing it down to 11 to make an all-star starting 11. So we're between seasons. We're looking at building a whole new squad. So we've decided just to name a
There we
few.
go.
If we was
You can
to
see that. There we go.
There we go. Today it works.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. Let's do. Let's move this one along here.
There we go.
There we go.
Love that. Now you might notice there's a few more than 11 players on that.
Yeah. So there's no way I can pick a starting 11. You guys can do that in the comments.
He can, but he's choosing not to.
I can't because I think there's so many ifs and buts.
Yeah.
So we're gonna name a squad of 22 of some of our favourite or best players. We can all just talk about it for 15-20 minutes. I think there's so many ways of looking at this. Do you go by longevity? Do you go by club legend? Do you go by people who've won the league? Do you go by people who have, I don't know, like just the best players?
Character.
Yeah.
How they play the game as well.
Yeah.
How they play
Well,
football.
yeah. So there's players who are absolutely fantastic who we've signed, but maybe only played 6 games, got injured, and then never saw them again. And we'll probably come on to these names. So just blast from the past. While we're in between squads, we're going to name a few from the past. So thanks for this, Dave.
Let's go for it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we're just going from goalkeepers first. Then, so we mentioned earlier we've always been blessed with goalkeepers. Harriet's obviously going to leave us. We're not going to mention our new signing that can be in future videos. So we're just basing it on the time that we've been watching, and obviously ellie-mae hasn't played for us yet. So let's throw it out to you guys. If you could just, it's going to be tough.
Is
It is
debate?
tough,
Is
isn't it?
debate
I
for
mean,
goalie?
yeah. For
I think
me,
it could be.
I imagine the
For
same with
you,
you
so
guys.
yeah, those two have been watching the girls a lot longer than I have. So
Yeah.
this will be my 3rd season now.
Right.
So I've only seen X amount, well you've probably seen XXX amount.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder for you guys on a serious note,
I think when we went into Tier 3 for the first season, we knew it was going to be so much tougher than anything we'd done before.
Yeah.
And Jamie coming in
Massive.
to do that did a fantastic job. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. Massive respect to everything that she contributed towards the club. And she was very different to Amy, who did brilliantly in her own right, but
Won the
never
league 3
played,
times.
never played at that top level
Yeah.
though, which is partially what sets her apart in my opinion.
Yeah.
However, last season, losing Jamie, we thought, oh no, this is gonna go badly in goalkeeping. We brought in Harriet Grimshaw though,
Okay.
who is just a fantastic goalkeeper, a fantastic person. And yeah, she's my pick for the goalkeeper definitely.
Yeah.
I think she's done it at the highest level.
Yeah.
The best in my opinion.
You mentioned that Debbie Phillips knocked up all the awards for Stourbridge Standard. Harriet did the same.
Yeah.
And also for the whole league as well.
Yeah.
And we were relegated. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, it does. So
that speaks volumes.
But
Relegated goalkeeper, finishing bottom, but she gets the league award for the best goalkeeper.
Yeah,
As
of
I
course.
say, no disrespect to the other two, but obviously it's not even a debate. She for me, she's number one from what I've seen.
Yeah, definitely.
So it looks like I've got 9 defenders. Look at I was keen one, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, 8.
Yeah. And there's probably more names that we could mention.
And there will be.
So what are we doing, boys? A 4-5-1 or a 4-4-2? Or
I think we
Christmas
should.
tree?
Do you reckon we kind of go
8-8-8,
4-3-3 with this?
8-8-8.
Yeah. We'll talk
4-3-3.
about right back first of all. Then
4-3-3.
we'll go with our number 2, our
Okay.
right back.
Right.
Who springs to
Options?
mind? Who springs to
Lexi,
mind for that?
Lexi with me, and that's me being biased as well.
Yeah.
And do you know what? This sounds really silly, ladies and gentlemen. With Lexi Harrison, I spoke to Mike Harris like in the club and things about bringing her back when she went to Wolves. She was one of my favourite players. I don't say she was the best player. She was one of my favourite players as well. But in her position, I think she's the best I've seen at Stour at right back. But this is going to sound really weird. She wore or wears the best football boots. She wears old school, Adidas World Cups, about £150. She don't wear the plastic crap that they all wear now. Doesn't weigh anything, they rip. She wears Adidas World Cup leather ones. You all see her in the same boots. And that takes you back to my childhood because I always wanted a pair of them. I had to have Puma Kings, which wears the great football, iconic football boots, if you like. Really strong, powerful on the wing. Again, probably more versatile than she had the option to here. But I can't, from what I've seen watching this club, I haven't seen a better right back at Stourbridge. I don't know what you boys think.
No, I think that's a fair point. I think she even comes into debate when you're talking about central midfielders as well. To be honest.
That's what I'm gonna say.
So yeah, but for me, I think it's so tough.
You've got to throw in another name there.
You have to throw Meg Hadley in there, of course.
Absolutely.
Because she's done it for a lot longer.
She's more of a right back. I mean,
Left back.
She can also play both sides,
instead,
right? That's one of the joys of Meg. She was very defensively solid for us. I think if we're talking about fullbacks, maybe the best defensive fullback that we've had, if that's the style that you want to look at. For me, I think she is that for us. But again, also had a worldie goal in her. We know the song very well. She had
Sing it.
Donny to Webtown everywhere she goes. Hadley scores worldies everywhere she goes. And that the lyrics have been true ever since.
I think if you look at the fullback, I think Lexi is one of the best players that we've probably ever had. I would love to see more of her in the centre, and I think because we started losing players in that season, she kind of done a job for us, didn't she? And she played out wide, and it could have been to our detriment in the end because she ended up obviously leaving, probably for a number of reasons, not just that. But Lexi for me is a quality player. But as a fullback, I'll throw Meg in there. This graphic that I put on screen is weighing heavy towards our tier 3 side who managed to get 16 points. So if that's the highest that we've ever got to, then
I think that's
there
what
are
you have to look
quite
at,
a few.
isn't it?
So we've kind of done it in that way, and that does mean that we've had to leave a few out, but that's kind of like what we've kind of gone towards.
Yeah, and I think a couple of names that you could just quickly mention in there is G Thacker, of course, did it for a number of years with the girls, and even Daisy, she played as almost a wing back for us last season, with the season before that even. But both of them fit in there. But I think the reason why I put Meg Hadley at a right back instead of a left back, because I think the left back is potentially the easiest position to choose on the pitch.
The best player we've ever had?
For me, seriously up there. I think a top two, definitely. I think Zoe Clark makes that left back spot her own. I think the way that she could control a football, score a goal, defend, she had it all and was played at a left back where she could have been up front, she could have been in central midfield, she could have been at centre half. She played left back, and I think she was the best to ever do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, can't argue with that. She was a
See,
fantastic
I
player.
couldn't pick between Meg and Zoe Clark because you're doing full back, so that's why I put Lexi right back.
Right.
She was always right back. She was like, you look at the team sheet, it was Jamie Lee Bamford, Lexi's straight away.
Yeah.
On the left, I struggled to pick between them, and what you're saying is bang on. But with Meg, and I've said it on this podcast before, she was like an 8 out of 10 every week, even after just for effort. And I remember the Burnley game we played last season. She was up against a mixed race girl, rapid. Meg could live with her.
Yeah.
Pace-wise, she could live with her.
Yeah.
The Kidderminster game we played in the cup at left back, rapid. No one was getting past her. So she's got so much pace. She makes up so much ground.
Yeah.
That would be the thing with Zoe Clark. Let's say that she hasn't got. And I said this before. I'd love to see the girls have a race. When those players are still there, because I don't think enough people speak about Meg's pace.
No.
We speak about Daisy's pace and Leo's pace. We don't speak about Meg's.
No, very
and that
fast.
kind of trumps it a little bit. So I would struggle there, but I'm not going to sit on the fence. I probably would edge Zoe Clark for the football IQ, if you like, what you said.
Yeah.
But when it comes to pace, she's amazing.
No, I think that's a
So
very valid
fast.
point. Very, very valid point.
She's out of position, Key, boys.
Yeah.
She gets straight back. She gets straight back into position because
Definitely.
she can. She's rapid herself. isn't she?
100%.
So,
We've got
Yeah.
10 minutes, Keith, to go.
We've got 10 minutes to go for all these positions. Oh,
centre
God.
backs.
Right, centre backs. We need to round these off quick. For me,
Right.
Sophie Zilgrave is your first one in. I think she's probably the best centre half that we've had.
I agree with that.
Did it for a number of years. Performed extremely well in Tier 3 as well. For me, she's straight in there.
Who would you put with her? Sophie Levy, Tilly Phantom, Rosie Embley,
This
Niamh
is the
Murphy.
this is the toughest bit. I think if we're going out and out as the player they were performance-wise, Tilly Phantom.
Oh, okay.
She didn't play
and me.
a massive amount for us. She had what, half a season,
Yeah.
about that. But yeah,
They're all
for
there.
me, in terms of pure ability,
Physical presence.
yeah, she's there for me.
Yeah, I think again she was one of the shining stars for last season in regards to ability. Took me by surprise, obviously coming from Lincoln, didn't know too much about her. And she's made it onto this graphic along with 3 or 4 other players from last season as well. But yeah, I agree. Tilly was one of our better players in my opinion last year.
Levick's for me as well, just to add.
Yeah, I got Levick on there as well. I mean,
Could I just add to reason being, because when I first came to this club, she was one of the ones most welcome. And I know that's not an attribute for the team, but my daughter wanted to play like her.
Yeah.
And she was solid. Again, another 8 out of 10 every week.
Mhm.
So she makes mine. Levick and Tilly
Definitely.
in the
Yeah,
league.
I understand that point completely. Let's move on to our defensive midfielders.
there's options here, mate.
There is options. You can move Rosie Embley up. You can put Elle McGovern in there. You
Big
can
Mac, can I just say this on the show? Big
Yeah.
Elle McGovern has won the league 4 years on the trot.
Yeah.
You know, Tier 5, Tier 5, Tier 4 with Stour, Tier 4 with Kelsa, Tier 5 with Kiddie last year. I mean,
For me, that's why she goes in that spot.
and she
for
gets
me.
game time as well. It's not like this. She's like just on the bench. She's actually playing, so she's got to be in the conversation.
She goes in that spot for me. I'd say the most underrated player in
Yeah.
not even just in Stourbridge squad, in Kiddie squad last season. I think she's fantastic. Got a free kick on her as well. Probably the best free kick I've seen
Yeah,
in women's football
yeah.
at this level. So
Yeah,
for
in
me,
the conversation.
she's the defensive midfielder.
Favour.
Yeah, she
Thanks,
makes
mate.
mine. Favour makes mine. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you why, time wise. I remember the Newcastle game. We lost 3-0 down here. And she Mike played her. She was crunching players. And you noticed they won the league. They're a fantastic footballing side, went up, deserved it. But I noticed watching that game, the players coming towards her were spread out wide. I don't want a part of that. And I love old school footballing when you're going into the crunch. Well, she's the best player on the pitch. No, she wasn't. But she's a physical presence that you don't want to go up against.
Yeah.
And that's why the limited football I've seen compared to you two, the girls, she makes my team at number 6.
Yeah, see, this is so tough because there's
Because
so
somebody-
many good midfielders on this list.
Okay, you
Hannah
can't pick
Fishwick.
11, that's what I'm saying. You
Hannah
can't-
Fishwick, Esme Moran, Lil Beth,
Phil Beth.
Alex Nicklin, even Amber Lawrence, you could stick her in there.
Alex Nicklin is a call, possibly the best Tier 4 player that I've seen at Stourbridge.
Yeah, probably.
Not Tier 3, but like Tier 4 in
Great
that
first
team.
touch, by the way.
Yeah,
Technically,
I think
there.
if she hadn't had the injuries that she had,
Yeah.
I think we could have easily seen a player that is playing championship level, potentially even WSL football in her younger years, because I think she is just that talented. I think she got really unlucky with injuries.
I haven't put Amy Dickin on here because she only played 6 games, but they were amazing
As a
6
player,
games.
though, yeah,
She is probably one of the best midfielders that we was lucky to have. You know, come from Wolves. I think she won the league with Wolves. I think that she played in the playoff season where they lost in the playoffs, and then when they lost on goal average. So she won the league with Wolves basically 2 years on the trot. We managed to get her, and then obviously she got a nasty injury and we haven't seen her since. But
Yeah,
so I didn't include her because she just didn't play that many games. But ability-wise, fantastic. But
definitely.
Hannah Fishwick,
Yeah.
no best. I know these players have won the league with us 2 or 3 years on the trot, you know, and memories there.
Yeah, it's so tough. I can't call the midfield because I'll have a thought about someone else and be like, oh yeah, they deserve it. Oh wait, someone else deserves it. Oh, you know, and it goes on forever. But let's talk about our wingers. We've got a few wingers out there.
We have.
It's so tough.
Everyone managed to get 22 on here,
I don't know. You've done really well. The wingers.
If you're looking at pace, you're looking at Daisy and Senna, aren't you?
Yeah.
If you're going down
If
that
that's what
route,
you're
does
after,
that mean
yeah.
they're the best? Who knows? We all agree we still don't know Daisy's best position.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
No, definitely. Yeah, I think. Yeah, again, it depends what you're after. If you want pace in behind, you're definitely looking at those two. But for me, I think this was a combination that played a lot during our Tier 4 title winning season. Is Mill Rogers one side and Lois Jeffries actually floating out to the other side. Obviously not known for her pace.
She's strong though, wasn't she? And accurate.
Again, and such a talented technical footballer that she could just make it work. And yeah, you know, it was really, really fun watching that combination with the number 9 that I'm sure we're probably all going to say up
Has
front.
to be up there, Niamh Deasy.
Yeah, Niamh Deasy, of course, the top record goal scorer during our Tier 4 campaign last time out. Yeah, for me, that is my front 3. Mill, Lois, and Niamh Deasy.
Oh, well, you're actually thinking it.
I'm going
Yeah.
Leo, man. Leo.
Really, really, fair enough.
So Lammy's in that awkward position. Is she a 10? Is she a striker? She can do both.
Yeah,
You know, if you've got the right players around her, she can manipulate around them, can't she? So would she
Absolutely.
be a number 10? Which would kind of make sense. That's probably how I would put her in there. I think she needs to be in there at some point. But yeah, I think there's better goal scorers than Lammy in regards to your Deasies and Lois Jeffries. But Lammy can just sit behind. I mean, you talk about what Alex can do. Look at what Lammy can do as well. We have got some honourable mentions as well.
we do.
Just quickly on the
Yeah, go on,
Leo
mate.
thing. When
Go
I
on.
first started coming, unfortunately Daisy was on a bit of a barren spell,
Mm.
and obviously because she wasn't scoring, I know the record that she's got. So, but watching them, obviously Leo played half a season and finished our top goal scorer.
Yeah.
Got an eye for goal. She's gone to Boulder, man. She's still banging them in for fun.
Yeah.
So she
She's
edges
a goal
Daisy based on
Okay.
the optic test. You know.
And she's going to have a
I
good
get it.
season for Barney this year.
Definitely, yeah. Very exciting times there.
There's so many.
Just give us
And
a few names,
I'm
John.
just going to throw some names there that we may
Yeah.
not have actually mentioned. So, Kelsey Richardson was
Yeah.
our captain in Tier 3 when we survived, and obviously, I say survived, it was more than just survival at the end.
Yeah, it was one of the best moments of the season in the, I think
Liverpool
it was the
Feds.
equaliser away at Liverpool Feds. Yeah, one of the best moments in that season, definitely.
Yeah, in our purple spell where we managed to get like about 12 points or 13 points in a very short time, she was our captain at that time.
Yeah.
You know, in Tier 3, so I had to mention that. We mentioned that Ivy Dickin already. Jess Bates, you talk about fullback,
Yeah.
different type of fullback, but she won the league with us for
Again,
3
a
years.
player that you knew what you were
Solid.
getting.
Yeah, you know, and I appreciate she's not as fast as maybe like Meg Hadley, so on the eye it's a little bit different, but you want to come up against
No,
Jess
it's a
Bates,
technical
Yeah.
defender, definitely.
more player of the season
The
in Tier 3.
probably the opposite of you know, when you're talking about players with not a lot of pace. Arguably the fastest player I've seen at Stourbridge, Jess Lowe.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
That'd be a good
incredible.
race, wouldn't it? On a track, Just
Yeah.
Slow versus Hadders.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
I'd
Oh,
throw
it might be
Daisy
happened
and Senna
somewhere.
in there as well.
Oh
Do
man,
you imagine 100-metre sprint by them girls?
genuinely couldn't call you a winner there. That's crazy.
Let's not forget Maria Timms, a young centre back who played for us at the end of Tier 3 the previous season. Went to Leafield. I believe that she's left Leafield now. Rosie Axton didn't see a load of it last season because of injury, but I think we saw enough to warrant that she's in that conversation at least. Erin Griffiths as a centre back.
Yeah.
Debbie Walker of last season. Gwen Horgan. I know you were a massive fan.
Esther, yeah.
Gwen Esther.
Of
You know,
course,
she
yeah.
didn't make the first 22 as such, but
But still performed at a high level
Technically
in
very
Tier
good.
3.
yeah,
Very good.
It's very hard to put her in when you've got Hannah Fishwick there, Lammy there,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the others around. You know, this is like Stourbridge all-time 22, I guess what you want to say. Jade Grove up front again, and was in our Tier 3 with his team last year, but she's not going to be in there ahead of Niamh Deasy, but, you know, goal scorer all the same. Lindsay Glover,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
offers you something different off the
Of
bench.
course. Yeah.
Right memories
Right
there
back
against
or
Leafield.
right wing as well.
Jamie Lee Banfield, we spoke about goalkeeper. Courtney Murphy.
Yeah.
We will never ever know how good Courtney Murphy was because she had like 3 years worth of injuries.
Yeah.
You know, she played a massive part into getting us into Tier 4. Never played Tier 4 for us. and never played tier 3, 4. Was such a shame
Unlucky,
with the
so
injury.
unlucky.
Yeah,
so
because her
unlucky.
potential was sky high, wasn't it? Our
Yeah.
captain as well. And lastly, Lizzie Benny still. You know, if you look at the fullbacks, she's one of the most experienced fullbacks
I think
that we've
so.
ever
Yeah,
had.
definitely in the
Oh,
conversation.
the LBS.
Oh, LBS, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully that's given you a blast
Whatever
from the
we like.
past. Again, another player that we haven't even mentioned here, Carly Aldred, did it in Tier 5.
Yeah.
Was exceptional for us in Tier 5. People like Cheryl Edwards. You
Did
could
great
go
football,
on
yeah.
and on. You could go on and on and list
Karen
a
Allen,
million
Lacey
names.
Sturvey.
Yes, exactly.
Solid.
Yeah, people like that. But yeah, that is I guess where we're going to conclude. Let us know what you think to this, to what we've said, to our combined 11s or 22s or 1 millions,
If we've
whatever you want
upset
to call
anybody,
it.
let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Let
We
John
tried to
know.
cover-
John, apologise.
Message
John,
John
we covered
as much as
personally.
we could.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully that's giving you some thought, some food for thought. And yeah, obviously, like I say, let us know what you think to what we've said in the comments, because I'm sure there's some fun discussions to be had there.
Ooh.
And we did purposely cut a little figure off here that's the manager. So
Yes,
we didn't
very
put the manager's
true.
name on there, so
Yeah.
we'll leave that, guys.
Yeah, but yeah, that is where we're going to conclude today. A lot has been spoken about. Does that almost say an hour? I think this could be our longest episode to date. But yeah, we've gone through everything that's going on this summer. Bit of standard. What was it called? The champions
In waiting.
in
Waiting.
waiting. Yes, of course. And then obviously our little fun game here. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Yeah, like and subscribe and all that, and we'll see you later.
Cheers, guys.
We're on a
Nice.
standard.